Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about actionable strategies that you can take to be more productive and efficient in achieving your goals. So, before you can really implement these strategies, you have to have a really important reason why you want to be productive in the first place. A couple good ones are you want to get your work done quicker and get home to your family and have more time to spend with them. Move to the next spot in your career and get a promotion. Be more effective at work so you can get promoted. Provide the absolute best service to your customers, and which will in turn probably get your work done faster, better, so you can get home to your family and get a promotion. Just before you can really implement these strategies and be successful with them, you have to have a reason why you want to be productive in the first place. It'll bring you way more success. The number one that I would recommend is time blocking. Every spare second of the day you want to have allocated to a certain activity that will get you closer to your goal. I use my phone's calendar. I use an actual planner, which is right here. Highly recommend one of these as well. I would do kind of a combination of both. Definitely always have one on you so that whenever an idea strikes or something that you need to get done that's maybe stressing you out, you can write it down and allocate a time to get it done. For this, I find it really successful the night before when I'm kind of winding down my day. I get my planner out and I look at the next day, see what needs to be done, set some priorities up for the next day, set up things that I really need to get done that are really stressing me out, and write them down and just allocate time to do them. If you're working your 9-to-5 job, just allocate the time after you get off work till the time you're going to go to bed, and whatever it is you want to get done, prioritize it and allocate time for it. Because if you don't write it down and you don't prioritize it, it'll end up stressing you out way more and it'll take you way longer to get it done than if you just write it down and block time for it. So, first one, time blocking, scheduling everything. Another one I like to use is listening to music. And this one is especially good for when you're doing a sort of menial repetitive task, like doing dishes or doing chores. If you listen to upbeat, fast-paced music, it'll really help you get that done faster and it'll help to be not such a bore. Another thing I like to listen to music for is reading, focusing, studying. It helps me to block out like the cars going by, if I can hear my tenants talking, if you're in a coffee shop, if you want to block out, everybody else talking, just pop in some like relaxing, repetitive music that doesn't have lyrics, because you don't want those lyrics to distract you. But I know that really helps me with reading, cognitive tasks, studying, and doing chores. That one's a big one for me. All right, so another one that really helps me out, and I find that I am much more productive on days when I do it rather than days that I don't, and that is drinking coffee. And this one you gotta be careful because you don't wanna drink an unhealthy amount and make it into a bad habit. But coffee is really good for getting you focused in, and it actually has a lot of health benefits, a lot of antioxidants. It actually fights heart disease, Alzheimer's, and really helps me to focus in on what I'm doing. What you don't want to do with coffee is drink it late in the afternoon into the evening. It can really mess with your sleep at that point, and drink it in an unhealthy amount, 4, 5, 6 cups a day. Definitely don't want to do that, so keep it to a healthy amount. But coffee in moderation has a lot of health benefits and can really help you get focused in on the work that you're doing that day. So another one that I find really useful is focusing on prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance. I actually heard this from a friend. It's probably a study or in a book somewhere, but you want to prioritize the most urgent and important tasks first. Those need to be at the top of your list, your daily list for the things that you need to get done that day. Because if you don't do that, you'll let the seemingly urgent but really non-important tasks get in there and distract you from what you really need to get done that day. Like answering texts, phone calls, emails, checking social media. These are all things that seem really urgent at the time, but really can be held off for indefinitely, essentially, so that you can get your urgent and important stuff done right away. And then another part of this is to set realistic time frames and goals to have your non-urgent but really important stuff done. So that would be like a test, essay, important deadlines and due dates you have coming up. Make sure you set realistic goals in the future in your time blocking and in your writing it down to get those tasks knocked out by their deadlines so you don't miss any deadlines. And then set realistic times per day to answer those texts, emails, and phone calls. So another one that's been really good for me is grouping similar activities together. You're doing chores, put the laundry in and get that started, then put the dishes in the dishwasher and get that started, and then while you're doing that, vacuum and dust so that you just knock it all out, one fell swoop, and then you're done. You can move on to the next task. Now incorporate that music, fast-paced music into that to keep you from getting bored and to get all that done faster. And you'll realize how much faster you can get everything done when you group them together. And another thing that I like to group together is text, emails, and phone calls. I like to set a specific time every day to answer those texts. So I let my texts build up, and then in this half an hour, I answer all my texts. Same thing for all my emails. I go through the emails I got for the past few hours, answer them, delete them, whatever I need to do. Same thing for my calls. I try and get all that done in 30 minutes to an hour, and then move on to another task and let them build up for later. That way you're not coming back, answering every text when you get it, answering every email when you get it, and letting it distract you. And that brings us into the next one, which is avoiding busy work. So when you're in that kind of focused mindset and when you're in your time allotted for getting something really urgent and important done that's been stressing you out, you're really working through it, the worst thing that can happen to you is you let some busy work come in and distract you. So you let that text on your phone distract you. And you pick up your phone, answer a text, next thing you know, you're on social media scrolling, and you've gotten yourself out of your workflow state. That thing that you've been trying to get done and that's been stressing you out is just gonna stress you out more because now it's not getting done and you're just on social media. So avoid those busy work distractions that can come up, like walking through the kitchen to go use the bathroom and you see that the dishes aren't done yet, but you're in a nice workflow state. Just don't worry about the dishes, don't worry about your phone, don't worry about your text messages. Put your phone on the other side of the room on silent or airplane mode, or even turn it off if you have to, and focus on what you have allotted that time for. That is really, really important. So avoid those busy work distractions coming in. So the final one that I want to highlight here is to take breaks. So, I mean, you can only focus and be in that deep work state for so long before you start to see diminishing returns and you're not really getting much done. At that point, just set whatever you're doing down for a second, take a break, take a walk, listen to some music, get something else done, whatever you have to do to just break it up a little bit. Because one, you want to reward yourself for getting all that work done. Two, you can only work so hard before you just really aren't getting much done anymore. And if you're studying especially and absorbing a lot of new material, you really want to give yourself a break. If you study for 30 minutes, half an hour, and you're learning all new material, you want to give yourself 20, 30 minutes of break time where you're not absorbing any new material so you can really let that sink in. You can really only handle so much at once. Don't overload yourself, and if you've gotten a lot of good work done, take a break, reward yourself, get something to eat, get a cup of coffee, take a walk, listen to some music, whatever you got to do to tone it down a little bit so that you can be more efficient on your next task. Maybe reward yourself with Netflix, YouTube, social media time. So if you've gotten a lot of great work done, but set a limit on it. So reward yourself with, you've gotten 3-4 hours of really solid work done, reward yourself with 30 minutes, an hour or two of social media and YouTube time. That's not a bad thing. So in conclusion with all this, I just want to remind you that it's going to be kind of weird trying to write down everything you're going to do the next day, everything you're going to do at what time. And just know that the more you do it, the easier it gets. You'll know really how long stuff takes you, and it'll really allow you to focus on maximizing your time, because before you didn't even know how long stuff would take you, but you'll find that as you keep writing it down and allocating time for it, you'll be like, wow, that was way too much time to get that done. And now you can kind of tweak that, and you'll find yourself getting a lot more done because certain things took you a lot less time. Just stick with it, persevere, write everything down, time block everything. Take notes on what happened the day before. Did you do well? Did you follow your schedule? Did something take way longer than it should have? Did something take way shorter than you thought it would? Just write those down, and so that you can take notes on stuff like that, so that in the future you can allocate better for certain events. And just know that it's a lot easier just to come home and watch Netflix all night and go to bed and then go to work the next morning. But if you want to focus on developing a side hustle or side business, or you want to get out of your job or want to get that promotion, then coming home and watching Netflix all night isn't really going to get you any closer to your goals. So just start with the end in mind. Start with those goals in mind. Keep them in mind every day. Write them down every day. Put them on a whiteboard or a chalkboard and put it up on your wall. That way you can be reminded every day of why you're doing these strategies and why you're time blocking, why you really want to be productive. Because if you keep those end goals in mind, you're going to be a lot more successful along the path to your goals, and you're going to reach your goals a lot faster. Just to wrap things up, just focus on your goals. Start with the end in mind. Time block, write everything down. Just keep growing and keep striving towards those goals. Thanks, guys.